we'll get those checks out to our grantees tomorrow so they can start planning on wonderful promotions in 2015. So we also have another elected official here. We have Alyssa Silverman, at-large council member, who will be taking office on Friday. Please welcome her. And I don't see Vincent Orange, but he's scheduled to join us somewhere along the route of the 17 ribbons that we're going to be cutting a little later. We have two of our board members here, Gretchen Wharton, who is vice chair of the Shaw Main Street Board. And we have Gary Coates, who's the chair of the design committee. And I think that's it for the board members. So, as I think all of you know by now, we are getting ready to cut 17 ribbons. So I think this is a record for the city, certainly for the Main Street program. I was able to confirm that. And I think that the National Main Street program will eventually let us know that no Main Street program has ever cut 17 ribbons in 2.5 hours, much less a day before. So it's a great achievement. I want to thank all of our partners that have helped to make this possible, including our sponsors, but most especially Mayor Vincent C. Gray. Mayor Gray has been a steadfast supporter of neighborhood commercial revitalization and historic preservation since his days as a ward council member and then as chair of the council, where he was able to help steer funding to restore funding that the previous administration had cut from the program. And under his administration, I'm glad to be able to say that the Main Street program never had to go begging with their hat to the council because we couldn't get our funding from the mayor. He's been there throughout. And he's been a wonderful partner and has joined us so happily whenever we've had things to celebrate in the neighborhood. So we're so very happy to be able to have one last opportunity with the mayor while he's still in office to go out and celebrate the great things that are happening in Shaw. We have 6 ribbon cuttings for new businesses, 6 ribbon cuttings for new lighting and signage storefront improvement projects. We have 3 Great Streets funded improvements. And then we have 2 new murals that we're cutting all this afternoon. So, without any further ado, I'd like to ask our Mayor Vincent C. Gray to come forward and to get ready to kick us off. Mr. Gray.
Thank you very much, Alex. What a great day. Doesn't it smell wonderful in here?
Yeah.
Oh, man, there's nothing like the smell of coffee brewing. So again, I want to thank all of you all for coming out. I want to thank the elected officials and elected officials to be. Alyssa Silverman, who has indicated will be sworn in on Friday as the newest at-large member of the Council of the District of Columbia. Alex, of course, is not only the executive director of Shaw Main Streets, he's also an elected official as well. He is an ANC, Advisory Neighborhood Commissioner, and the chair of the Advisory Neighborhood Commission, of which we have 40 in the District of Columbia. So Alex, I want to thank you for your leadership on so many fronts, especially Shaw Main Streets here in the District of Columbia. We also have another ANC commissioner posing as a photographer today, Bill Starles, who's a good friend. He is a commissioner with 2E, which is really an outstanding commission. I've worked with that commission on so many fronts, the Georgetown Campus Plan, Duke Ellington, and so many other issues. And Bill and Ron Lewis and Ed Solomon and Jeff Jones and all of those guys are really great people to work with. So thank you, Bill, for coming out today to be a part of this as well. You know, it is insane to cut 17 ribbons in one afternoon, isn't it? And we have 2.5 hours set aside for this. So I guess once we start moving, we better keep moving, right? I got a text message from someone in the media about an hour ago and said, 17 ribbon cuttings, that must be a record. And unless anybody knows any differently, that is a record, ladies and gentlemen. I really don't know, but it sounds like anyone that would do 17 ribbon cuttings, all of us, would just claim it as a record. You know, it's really symbolic, too, of the development that's taking place here in Shaw. We did 15 ribbon cuttings earlier. We did 3 in one day, then we did 5 in one day, and then we did 7. If you do the math, that adds up to 15, right? And 17 seemed like a lot. I was so happy when we got to this number 7. Imagine what I'll feel like when I get to number 17 today. But again, I think it symbolizes the growth and development that we are seeing, and the enthusiasm and the energy that we're seeing right here in Shaw. So I want to thank Alex. I want to thank the board members of Shaw Main Street. I've attended so many events. I was at the holiday party that Shaw Main Street's had at the Howard Theater, and that was a great event as well. And there's so many others that I've had a chance to be able to be a part of. And so many of these they're new businesses that are developing and innovative businesses. One of the things that we set out to do was to diversify the economy in our city. For decades, the city has depended upon the federal government and whatever it generated here in the city. And some days that's been good, and some days it's not been so good. We know that the federal government is now shrinking in size and relocating some of its operations to other areas of the nation. And it wasn't just precipitated by that, it was precipitated by the recognition that we ought to be able to have our own identity here in the District of Columbia, and that is precisely what we've been pursuing. This corridor, for those who don't know, has been designated as a technology corridor, Digital DC. It starts down by the convention center and goes all the way to Petworth. And these businesses that are opening here, I think will be a catalyst for tech development, and tech development will be a catalyst for additional business development here as well. We just passed a new law, which hopefully some of you saw. We just signed it into law about a week ago, the Technology Incentive Bill, which says that the capital gains taxes for people who live in the District of Columbia and invest in technology businesses in the District of Columbia, capital gains tax has been almost 9% on those earnings. This law, beginning in just a few years, will reduce that to 3%, which will encourage people to develop in the District of Columbia, because I think technology is really the way of the future of this city. I don't know if we'll be the Silicon Valley. Maybe the folks in Silicon Valley will say they're the DC of the West or something, maybe that day will come. But whether it does happen that way or not, we know that this is a burgeoning opportunity with 1776, with WeWork, which is right up on S Street, with what's happening on the St. Elizabeth's campus on the east side of the city. All of those opportunities are creating new businesses and creating new jobs in the city. Our population now is 660,000. It's the largest population that we've had since the 1970s in the city. And for those who haven't heard me say it 942 times, we are larger now than the state of Wyoming. We are larger now than the state of Vermont.